Welcome back to the Rebels Edge, folks. We've got a lot to talk about today. Of course, the big earnings event. We've got NVIDIA tonight. A little bit of maybe nervousness, but more or less the market's lifting, and we'll have the 411 on all of that for you right into today's Rebels Edge. Well, Pete, what do you think? I mean, people were nervous about all the AI stocks. They seem to be buying them. I mean, Oracle is what, 30-some bucks off of its low. NVIDIA's hanging in there, and they've got earnings tonight. And we know Jensen Huang and what he usually says.
Well, you know, the market's really been amazingly overreactive to just about everything, John. I mean, more so than we've seen, I think, in quite a long time, probably over the last year or whatever. If you go back to, you know, some of the craziness that we had last April, and then all of a sudden we turned and burned. So it's interesting. I think the concerns of AI and the disruptions is maybe kind of starting to get a little bit pushed away to some degree. And as you said, NVIDIA being earnings tonight is a big deal. And we've had one heck of a lot of option activity in NVIDIA going into this number, which I think sounds like a pretty big number when you consider the fact of where they are, who they are, $4.7 trillion company. I think it matters what they have to say about their earnings.
Oh, it will move the markets for sure, one way or another. I mean, there's no middle, there's no just stasis, as a medical person might say. All right, by the way, and people are asking, why is John wearing a Canadian flag? Because the U.S. hockey team is 10 times better.
You're all over this thing, man.
more love from our Canadian fans, Pete. You're the one wearing Canadian colors, for God's sake, red and black. All right.
I'm going to hit the VIX real quick, John. And
all right, do it.
It's pretty easy. I mean, we're sitting there close to the higher level of 18, but nonetheless 18, not 22, not 23, not 21, 18. So the range today, as a matter of fact, has been 18 and a half and go up to maybe 1960. So at about $1 range, and pretty interesting how that puts us and positions us right now. But the S&P is up about 0.5% or thereabouts. So makes some sense of where we are, what's happening with the markets. And I'll tell you, it's probably potentially going to get a little bit lower, but the one thing that might hold it up a little longer, John, is some of the angst about what happens with NVIDIA tonight. And I think that will be a big player because obviously that's going to be a massive decision maker for a lot of people once they hear those numbers.
Oh, of course. It will be a big deal tonight, Pete.
Yeah.
And obviously just seeing that the market has lifted since the Monday, I don't want to call it a meltdown because what was it, 1.25%? But we did go down. And now we have not quite recaptured all of it, but depending on the indice you're talking about, we're pretty close.
Yeah.
All right, let's do a little bit on prediction, Pete. Prediction exchange, well, I'm going to say as far as the prediction exchanges, Pete, that Warner Brothers looks like Netflix is no longer leading the charge there. These are people that are betting on it. And who's going to take over Warner Brothers or WBD, Warner Brothers Discovery? Well, now it's looking more and more like it's going to be Paramount, Paramount Skydance. Because, I mean, look at that. For the longest time, you saw back to December, basically, a big divergence. All of a sudden, it seemed like it was Netflix, up over 60%. And now it has fallen somewhat dramatically. And meanwhile, over the month of February, I guess, Larry Ellison's son has been seeing a better and better chance, at least according to the betting exchanges. What do you think, Pete?
Yeah, it sure looks that way, John. And obviously, this is becoming something more and more interesting to watch and see where those things are. And the fact that people, you know, like you said, this is an exchange. This is something where you can actually put money down about what will happen and all the rest of it. You don't have to worry so much about the when, but I think they're probably getting a little bit closer, John, to some sort of an action. So it looks pretty interesting how it's starting to shift around and how that's moved the way it has in the most recent couple of weeks. It seems like just amazing.
Yeah, pretty serious move, and obviously we're keeping our eye close on that. All right, super excited today, folks, to bring you another small cap spotlight. And for those of you who have followed us into some of these, like Quantum Emotion, for instance, when we brought it to you as a $1 stock and it went up over $4, and it did that in about a month and a half, 2 months. Well, hopefully we get the same sort of lightning in a bottle with this one. Now, we are paid to promote this stock, but we do own shares of it. It's called Realloys, and the symbol is ALOY. And many of you might say, well, alloy, what is that? Is it something to do with rare earth? Bingo! Yes, it is. And President Trump summed it up best when he said there's no such thing as rare earth, there's rare processing. So China controls 90% of rare earth resources, folks, and rare earth processing and rare earth magnets. Now, your phone and mine, you know, the reason the haptic works on these iPhones and so forth, Androids too, is you've got magnets in there, but they're special magnets. And these guys, rare earths and magnets, are needed for every single GPU, missile, submarine, aircraft, phone, medical device, you name it. And that's why it's so important that we have a critical mineral reserve and things like that. Realloys, folks, this company that we're talking about here, did a deal yesterday with Black Box Stocks. And the symbol is, as I've said already, ALOY. It's Realloy. And these guys really do have a wonderful spot in the market because they're vertically integrated. Everything from mine to magnets, delivering end-to-end control and value creation. So, North American facility, that's good, right? Because again, as I said at the top, 90% of these are coming out of China. And then the processing happens in China. And most of us would say that's not terribly secure for all of the different things that we need it for. Like I say, everything from computer graphic processing units to missiles and defense capabilities. So 100% non-China sourcing. This is the company you want to at least put it on your watch list, and we think you want to pay attention to Realloys. That's ALOY, and we'll be talking more about this one on Small Cap Spotlight, I'm sure. All right, Pete, let's dive in and see what else we got going on here with the stocks today, because we do have, and I'll tell you guys about a market webinar first, because apparently we do have a broad market breakdown webinar tonight, Pete.
All right.
Tonight. Yep. At 4 p.m. Eastern, just because we like to do them right at the market close. And if you register for it, you will get a copy of it emailed out to you. And it's not a transcribed copy. It is the actual presentation on the webinar. So that's something you want to get. Because you can watch it again and again. You can listen to it in your car if you like and not be distracted by the video. I mean, I think it's one of the things that makes us special is we give these away. All you have to do is register to get it. So do register at marketrebellion.com/register or scan that QR code that Jared's putting up there. All right, Pete, circle. USDC transaction volume surges 240%. What do you think of that, Pete?
Pretty unbelievable, quite honestly. I mean, this is something that's a heck of a storyline. And year over year, $11.9 trillion worth, John. I mean, we're talking about monstrous numbers here. And the adoption is at a record pace for that, for the expanding of the ecosystem. I mean, you name it. This is something that's absolutely ripping to the upside today, up 25%. It's still well off the 52-week highs. I get it. But the volumes are there, and this stock is ripping to the upside. Year to date, it was down a little bit, but I think they're making up for a lot of it today, John. It's been an unbelievable move to the upside. And like you said, transaction volume, 240+%. I'd say that's pretty amazing.
Yep, that certainly is, Pete. Well, what about Axon? Axon. This one basically shares were up. These guys used to be that just known as a taser maker, Pete. And then they figured out cops needed some protection. And I don't mean vests. They needed cameras. And so these guys do tasers so that the cops have non-lethal force basically as one of their things that they could deploy, as well as that camera that in many cases saves on lawsuits. Somebody says, well, the cop did this, and then they can check the cam on the cop and see if he did or if she did. And if they didn't, obviously it saves you an awful lot of money in legal work and all the rest. So these guys beat quarterly expectations and projected a very strong 2026. I think this one's another one that you should put on your watch list. How about you, Pete?
Absolutely, John. I'm right there with you. I mean, up 46% on their growth in terms of the annual bookings. That's a pretty big number for a substantial company that's been around for a while. Their outlook for the revenue for 2026, that growth, 27 to 30%. We're talking about some really big numbers here. The vision for 2028 is a $6 billion annual rev. I mean, just amazing. You look at the margins, that's another one. I mean, this is about the strong demand that they've got right now for the hardware, the software, the AI driven products that they've got. Taser, body cam, as you talked about as well, John. Axon's really rolling right now. And you know what? I can understand why they've got that outlook. It's difficult always for me to say, hey, what are your projections for 2028? I mean, we're going out a couple of years. But that being said, pretty amazing if they're able to get anywhere close to some of the numbers that they're talking about. And it looks like they can be based upon what they're doing right now.
Well, let's talk restaurants, Pete. Frequently, it's something that really has very great consistency and they're growing their footprint. Something like perhaps Chipotle or whatever. Well, this is Cava, and Cava shares are up pretty big today after they topped Wall Street estimates and they issued upbeat guidance. Shoot, Pete, they opened 72 new restaurants. I'd say that's a pretty good growth for the company, and that's probably why their revenue exceeded $1 billion, up 22%, and then some.
Unbelievable what they've been able to accomplish, John. That they gave the strong guidance like you were just talking about. Their same-store sales growth also very impressive. They projected growth of about 3 to 5%. That's pretty solid. Their margins are great at 24%. I mean, this is Middle Eastern version of Chipotle, right? I mean, Chipotle being Mexican, this is more in the Middle Eastern side of things. They are crushing it. The only concern I would have at all, and it's a minor concern right now, because things are really flowing for them in the right way. But just keep an eye on that PE, which is stretched up to about a 70. That's twice the earnings. That's getting pretty lofty. So I think people should be aware that that is a little bit of a quote unquote bugaboo about this thing. Other than that, though, it looks fantastic. But is it a little bit stretched? It's probably a little bit stretched. And so if it pulls back off of this, it might be an opportunity then rather than now.
Well, speaking of pulling back, First Solar, Pete, shares tumbled. They posted a wide earnings miss and issued weak guidance. Now, those are two things you can't really do if you expect the stock to be stable. And nobody really expected it to be stable, even though they're doing about $5 billion in rev, Pete. That was still about $1 billion shy of what people were looking for. And that's one of the reasons they're spanking it today.
Yeah, you're exactly right, John. I mean, that revenue guidance was weak. It was below the consensus. That's never something that's good. They also missed on the earnings, which is another thing. And they had that weak guidance that you talked about. So, when you look at that outlook and some of the delays that they've got, the tariffs concerns that they've got, and they kind of were trying to be bleeding hearts a little bit on this as well, John, talking about, well, we don't really have clarity on this because of this and this and this. Okay, well, that tends to be a problem as well. So it's understandable why there's some pressure on the stock right now. Now, this thing is somewhere in the very middle of the 52-week low and high, sitting around, call it 206, 208, something like that, John. The high's 285, the low's 116. It's sitting somewhere right in the middle. I think there are much better places, in my opinion, at least right now. If I want to have energy source, I think there's much better plays right now than somebody like First Solar. I think solar has a lot of different issues that they've got to deal with. And I think what we were hearing today is exactly why I think I'd rather be somewhere else.
Yep. Well, apparently a lot of people feel in the same way, Pete, because they're pretty much like this. Yours. They're selling. Hands out means they're selling, folks. Hands like this, they're buying.
Yep.
All right. Let's do a little hockey video, Pete, because we haven't talked enough hockey.
We haven't talked about USA hockey at all.
No, we haven't even hit on it. So here's a little for those of you who always wanted to see a little more hockey. Look at that effort.
Minnesota kid, John. Matt Boldy. You just got.
How about that? That was the first goal. Now, we've all been watching Jack Hughes and the fabulous job that he did.
Yeah.
But that one there, Pete, I mean, look, he just went through basically their team. The coach had to be just miffed.
Yeah.
But that was a fabulous job. I mean, watch this one more time, folks. So he splits the defense. You're never supposed to be able to do that. They're supposed to check you up into the air if you even try that. But he did it.
And I'll tell you this, I was listening yesterday, John, to Lou Nanne, a local favorite for a lot of the people here at Minnesota. He was also part of the Wild back in the day and all the rest of that kind of stuff. And he's, a North Star, all that stuff. He in Minnesota, he's really a Canadian, but he's a Minnesota guy. And so he's a little bit, when it comes to something like this, he just said they got out coached. And I was listening to him very closely, and I'm like, I wonder what he means by that. He basically just said, look, if you look at how many shots, they had opportunities, but they took too many where they were doing it too early, too aggressive. They weren't really very patient, in other words, to try to get the goalie in the wrong position. One time he was in the wrong position, and that one went too wide. So, he was just pointing out that the Canadians made some mistakes from a coaching perspective with some of the players, and that helped lead the U.S. into what they did, which is everything gold. You got to love it, man. I mean, it was fantastic. And they didn't do what Canada was doing. They actually were patient, and they did a great job of taking advantage when they had the opportunity. So you got to love it. And, hey, when a goalie stops 41 of 42 shots, I think he's doing pretty damn good, John. Hey, all right.
You know who else did pretty well, Pete?
Yeah.
26 million people, NBC Universal, all of their properties from Peacock on down. 26 million people. That made it the most watched pre-9 a.m. Sporting event in U.S. history.
Ever.
That's amazing.
That's amazing is right. I love it. And people have just really just put these guys in their arms. I don't know if you saw that they were out there partying, John, and one of our good friends out there decided, you know what, this is so much fun. I'm going to buy everything for everybody in this joint. All you guys on your hockey. And they didn't have to pay a dime, John. They're out at the bars having a ball and dinner and everything else. And Pat McAfee said, you need a little more? Do you need a little more? You got to love him.
So cool.
He is so generous. It's absolutely amazing, John. I mean, what he does during the football season, but now with the hockey guys, that's just phenomenal. All right, are we ready for a little bit of sports?
Let's do it.
Duke. Is Duke just somebody who is always going to be there, John? I mean, it's absolutely amazing how good they always seem to be, right? I mean, it's unbelievable. And I just, it's March Madness. It's almost that time, we're getting closer and closer to March. Then we're going to get into this whole thing. And then it comes down to, you know what? Every game counts. You got to be playing in every single game. Well, these guys had 2 losses so far this year, John, by a total of 4 points. So I would say that they're doing pretty well. They're 25-2. They lost by a total of 4 points on the 2 losses that they had. They lost to Texas Tech, who was number 19. They lost to North Carolina at the time, was number 14. They lost to Texas Tech by 1, lost by 3 when it came to North Carolina. North Carolina's pretty damn good. So it's not like they just completely fumbled or something. But this is how many teams that they've played against and beat that are ranked teams, John. How about this? Number 24, Kansas, 22, Arkansas, 15, Florida, 7, Michigan State, 19, Texas Tech, number 20, Clemson, number 1, Michigan, they just beat 68-63. They beat number 14, North Carolina in the second shot. They beat number 20, Louisville. They beat number 24, SMU, number 20, Louisville. When you go through something like that, and you're going against that many teams that are ranked, how impressive is it that you just basically just put them and beat them, right? I mean, so yeah, they got 2 losses, but there is something special in the water down there at Duke, John. How they recruit the right players at the right times for what they need to do. It's amazing because basketball, you know, how many players do you really have to have, right? Is it 7, 8, maybe it's 10, but whatever it is, Duke gets them. And you know what? They always seem to be somewhere near the top. And right now they're sitting at the top, #1 in the country. Pretty amazing, but I don't know. I mean, everybody's got those same opportunities. They've just got to figure out how they can get some of these players. But it is amazing that Duke just stands tall every single year. Amazing, right?
Well, and I know you'll like this stat, Pete. Duke is 7-0 against Michigan on neutral courts. And Pete is not a huge Michigan fan, in case you guys didn't know it. So he is probably going to keep a smile on his face all day over that one.
Yeah,
all right.
It makes me feel a little bit better. All right, real quick, the last thing I'm going to get to, Mel Kiper. He's out there, and he's, you know, one of the guys we look to as far as like, okay, what does the draft look like? Now we talked about this yesterday. We got the combine kicks off tomorrow. Everything gets exciting, fun, and we see the guys who can run a 4.2. By the way, I was watching the other day. How about the kid? I think it was just a year or 2 ago. I think he was out of Oregon, John. 49 reps with 2 1/4. 49. He set the new record. And he wasn't bouncing. This guy was just sitting there going like this. He wasn't bouncing it off his chest. I mean, it was legit. I mean, unbelievable to watch. So that's just fatiguing as hell to do 49 of anything, let alone 2 1/4. But amazing. So here's the thing about Mel Kiper, though. He's always been pretty good about the draft. And here's what I wanted to tell you about what he's got lined up. So in the top 7 picks, he's got 4 players from 1 school. That school being Ohio State. Now, it makes you kind of wonder.
Ohio State,
right? I mean, they had talent last year. They had talent the year before that. They got talent this year. They got Sonny Styles, linebacker. He's going at number 7. Connell Tate, wide receiver, Cleveland. Arcel Reese, Tennessee, linebacker. Caleb Downs, Jet,
linebacker,
safety. I mean, across the board, John, they got one guy. I mean, across everything, these guys have got players, offensive side, defensive side, guys that are going to be in the NFL going in the first round, but not just the first round. That's top 7. They got more guys coming in the top 25 or 30 or 32.
Jeez.
Just amazing how good Ohio State is. And I just thought we had to point that out. And I'll tell you, I know you were talking about one of these guys just the other day. You were talking about, I think it was Reese, that linebacker.
Arvell Reese, yeah.
He is unbelievable. But I'll throw it to you because he's an edge rusher, a linebacker, whatever the hell you want. I mean, these guys are so big, so strong, so fast. You got guys playing in whatever position you need them to play in the NFL.
Yeah, and one of those guys who was a tweener, Pete, was Mike Vrabel. Who is now the coach, of course, of New England. And, you know, one of the gifts or one of the smart things that Belichick does, because a lot of people have soured on the man lately, but one of the things he used to be famous for was finding a guy and finding a spot for him, saying, that guy's got talent. I got to put him here. He might not be a perfect defensive tackle, but I'm going to put him there because he can play the position. And he's fast enough that nobody's going to get by him, for instance.
Yeah.
But, yeah, he is I think we're going to see a lot of Ohio State jerseys, Pete, when we watch the highlight reels as they name the names. And you're just sitting there looking up at the – well, just like you said, why didn't they win? Why didn't they win at all? I mean, they did win. What were they, Pete? 12-1 or whatever it was?
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's an amazing franchise that they've built. I know they've got a lot of money, but hell, all these guys got a lot of money. USC's got a crap load of money. Notre Dame's got it. Oregon's got it. Alabama's got it. Texas got it. So you can't sit there and whine about, well, they have a lot of money. Yeah, they do. But so does a lot of other schools out there. And Ohio State lines them up. And I'll tell you what, they know, just like you did, you were talking about, John. I mean, that coach is doing one thing really, really great. he finds spots for these talented people, and they immediately seem to be good. They're freshmen, but they're not really freshmen. These guys are men, man. When they get to Ohio State, they're already ready to play in the NFL.
I agree. Well, folks, both Pete and I mean, I happen to be in Houston today on my way to Taos, New Mexico. But Pete is going to be traveling tomorrow too. So you know what that means? No Rebels Edge tomorrow. We will be back Monday, however, with another Rebels Edge, and we'll be back at 1 p.m. Eastern. We hope you guys enjoy the Combine this weekend, and we'll see you on Monday, 1 o'clock.